Double checking. Hey, I just talked for 5 minutes and my microphone wasn't on because I'm rushing, because I'm extremely behind. Oh, by the way, what's up everybody? It's your man Pots and Pans. Welcome back to another episode of Flavor Combo of the Week that we do here on my YouTube every Thursday. Okay, like I said, I'm running very behind. I'm rushing around, so today I'm just gonna get right into it, not waste any time. Today we are talking about gnocchis. My gnocchis. First up, we got russet potatoes. They're also sometimes called Idaho potatoes, sometimes called baking potatoes, sometimes called old potatoes. Hey man, just pick one. Who are you, Chad Michael Murray? And if that's not enough, these very potatoes, this single type of potato has multiple different varieties. I'm not gonna name any one of them because who fucking cares? Probably the most common potato, I don't know about the world, because, you know, I haven't really been that many places, but, you know, definitely in America. That's why they're called Idaho potatoes, because they're grown there more than any other place ever. They're kind of like a little rough. They usually have like these type of eyes. They're long and brown, and they're potatoes, dude. We don't have to go super in depth with potatoes, but they are the most important part of the process for gnocchis. They're potato dumps. Why are they specifically so good for gnocchis? Well, because they are high starchy, they're low in sugar, and they also tend to fluff. Sometimes we don't want the fluff, but in a good gnocchi, that's exactly what we want. We want dry, fluffy potatoes, and russets, I think, are the best ones. I've also been in restaurants where we use Yukon Golds. They're pretty good, but I like russets more. You probably know them because, you know, they're very versatile. You've seen them at baked potatoes, twice baked potatoes, potato skins. You can even mash them because they're starchy, but they're not overly starchy. Maybe a red bliss or something, and when you whip it up, it doesn't get too gummy. Moving on, we have ricotta cheese. Ricotta is generally how most people say it, unless, you know, you're Italian, and also if you're on the Food Network. You would just normally talk like this and you'd be like, hey, you don't necessarily need ricotta to make good gnocchis, but if you really want to kick it up, you definitely want to bring in some ricotta. Just say it normal, you know, unless you're really astute like your boy here. Now, technically, a potato gnocchi made without ricotta is called a gnocchi. Very straightforward. But, you know, when you add ricotta, just straight ricotta, they're called nudis. I mean, come on, nudis? Really, Italy? All day, the most perverted shit you could have come up with. Not surprising. The Italians are always trying to make a love. Maybe not with Corona, but they're definitely trying to have sex with most people most of the time. They're already very beautiful, just like a women. But if we make them a nudie, maybe they'd be more beautiful, just like a women. Ricotta cheese is made by basically reheating, recooking the whey. You know, you'd have all this leftover whey for making all these other cheeses, and that's kind of like the urban legend how this cheese got started. You know, technically it's not really a cheese at all. After it's recooked, it almost comes out like a cottage cheese, which is an actual cheese, I think. Don't quote me on that. I mean, why? Stop calling them cheeses if they're not cheeses, you know? Jesus Christ. It's like a cottage cheese, but it's a little more grainier, but not in an off-putting way. And it's also got a little more sweetness, I think, than a traditional cottage cheese does. And in regards to a potato gnocchi, they make them infinitely better. More moist, more dense, more rich, more better. Oh, there is actually kind of an exception. You know, usually it looks like this. It's a little, like I said, grainier, but it's like this goopy consistency. Now, the only exception is a ricotta. See, even I'm confused. Ricotta salata. In this case, they actually press it and it becomes more of like a firm cheese similar to a feta. You could say it's the original feta wop. Fetty wop. All right, I'm canceled. I'll see you guys later. Pass. That's why we have nothing nice. And next up, ya boy, sage. Sage is a very common herb to be served with potatoes, whether they're gnocchis or whatever form they become. You know, they're gonna be definitely served in gnocchis and a lot of Italian cuisine because it is a Mediterranean-based herb. These days, you know, with millennials and all these young whippersnappers coming up, it's probably more associated with, you know, clearing the energy and holding space for interdimensional travel. In that case, you probably found a, you know, dried up, real thick bundle of this stuff in a very overpriced crystal shop that you should definitely never go to. because they're not doing anything. I mean, the sage is doing something, which is smelling like shit, but the crystals, they're not doing anything. One thing, don't chew on them raw. You'll want to remove your tongue permanently, forever and throughout the universe. Sage also goes very well in like autumn and fall and winter type dishes, like the quintessential box stuffing. It goes extremely well with all sorts of fowl, you know, chicken, turkey, pheasant, duck, quail. I don't even know what the fuck a quail is. But not just with birds, it's also phenomenal with like a solid pork tenderloin, you know. Sear it up, hit it with brown butter, toss the sage in, get these essential oils going. Oof. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I've been holding this for way too long, so I'm gonna put this down. And let's move on to our final ingredient, which is cream. Now, what you're gonna see here is, I'm unpredictable. Okay, I saw this at the store. I was like, let's do it. Perfect. Let's get the content, bruh. A lot of people see cream, they see light cream, they see regular cream, they see things labeled heavy cream and heavy whipping cream. Yeah, it does get a little confusing. Basically, the only difference is the amount of fat, percentage-wise, that's in all the products. You know, at the former side of that list, you know, you have around like hovering around 18-20%. Then you get all the way up to heavy whipping cream. You're looking at like 30, 35, maybe even up to 40. I thought this would be pretty cool because, again, not many people know it unless you're English. Oh, it's like everybody has this. I grow it in my backyard, yeah? Me and my mum be whipping it up with pancakes all day, player. Do you know what I mean? All English people say, do you know what I mean? And they also say, literally all the time. Do you know what I mean? But you can see clearly right on the label, it says 48% MF. 48% motherfuckers. Like they're bragging and shit. No, it's 48% milk fat. It is thick, my friend. It's basically like a paste. It's almost like condensed version of it. Oof. Sweet. Tastes like cream. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. But before it ends up on a cake or in a can with preservatives and destroying your brain, you know what I'm talking about. One time I went to the World Series game and Roy Halladay for the Phillies threw a no-no, and we went in that parking lot and I did whippets for the first time. There goes my shot at Nickelodeon. But the truth is, dairy and cream has been relied upon for thousands of years for a steadily, readily available, I said too many illies, form of nutrition. Unfortunately, with like factory farming, most of the time you're gonna get cream and it's gonna be like separated with like through a centrifuge, and then also homogenation is a thing, but traditionally straight up not pasteurized, microbiotic filled, healthy dairy. When it's allowed to sit and chill for a while, all that fat due to its density, you know, gravity, obviously, rises to the top, like that old saying, and what's left at the top is just an incredibly unique consistency that doesn't really exist in any other place. Like even a coconut cream, something that's still that fatty, doesn't compare to an animal-based product. Now I could say something through the lens of my own words, but I want to actually quote Harold McGee, food scientist, written a bunch of books, super smart guy, way smarter than me. But here's what he said about cream, and I quote, "Creaminess is a remarkable consistency, perfectly balanced between solidity and fluidity, between persistence and evanescence. It is substantial yet smooth and seamless." And I think that's a perfect description. Obviously, that's why I just said it. Obviously, we know you can straight up drink cream. I mean, I've done it, you know, but aside from me being a Neanderthal, we know that we can add it to like soups and sauces, and it's just gonna add not only extra fat, but that nice palatable difference that you only get from cream. If you remember my beurre blanc recipe, you remember that, you know, cream was added as a stabilizer. We didn't need it for that recipe, but we added it for the flavor and to help keep it together, okay, so we wouldn't break it up. Fat is like a 10x the weight that protein is, and for that reason, it just provides way more stability than something that's like 50-50 protein to fat, which basically is milk. And this ratio is the exact same reason that we can whip it, you know, it becomes whipped cream. It doubles in size because of how much fat is in it. Not everyone can handle dairy, but, you know, a lot of stores, health food stores, Whole Foods, Erewhon, I'm sure if you don't have those in your area, you can find a good distributor online that's gonna serve up A2 cows. I've also talked about this before, Jersey, Guernsey cows, you know, similar to how like sheep's milk, goat's milk, it's not the same type of casein. It doesn't bother people who are lactose intolerant as much. So, you know, either just suck it up, enjoy yourself every once in a while, kick up your recipes with a little more heavy cream, or go out of your way to get a different type of milk or cream or whatever. So that's it for tonight. These are all of the ingredients that you need to make a phenomenal gnocchi. Be sure to tune in to Friday Night Bites every Friday night where we break down a new recipe for la familia. If you had a little fun with this video, brought you a little bit of value, maybe you learned something, please give this a like, comment your favorite part, maybe what you want to see from me in the future, and look out for the recipe. Hey, if you want to share it, on your social, preach. But until next time, just keep cooking up, fam. Be you, do you, don't be anyone else, because it's not you. All right, good talk. Love and peace. My gnocchis. My gnocchis. Chef out.